during my powerlifting / mega dreamer bulk era. And that stuff you actually can't diet away, so I was like, I've had enough of this crap. Cut it out.
Lies. And so, first things first, Mike lies and says you can't diet off fat that you gained from your permabulk days when you were younger. Lies. Everyone can lose body fat if they're in a deficit. If Mike continued to diet, he most certainly could have got down to 6.0% body fat. Whether or not the DEXA scam is bang on, well, it's most likely not. But if he had kept dieting in his last bodybuilding competition for, let's say, another month, he would have continued to get leaner and he would have looked better. Does anyone doubt this? And so the secret to Mike getting leaner, it's not the surgery, it's continuing to stay in a calorie deficit.
I got a DEXA scam on May 13th, 2025. And it had me at 235.82 pounds and 15.6% body fat.
235 pounds while on 150 milligrams of HRT per week. At 5'5.5", clearly not healthy. I don't care who you are, what you do, you have type 2 obesity, and it's not going to end well for you.
Which I looked like this.
Remember, part of this grossness that you're seeing is ascites. Mike Israetel is retaining an enormous amount of body water from having undergone surgery. And so it looks like he's 30% body fat. He's tested at 15.6% body fat, but he's probably somewhere closer to 20%. And remember, the DEXA scam, it gets fooled when you have more water in your body. If you were to drink a bunch of water before you get a DEXA scam, it's going to read that you have way more muscle because it can't differentiate the difference between muscle, water, and other organs. The DEXA scam was invented to measure bone density. And so it can tell you how dense your bones are, but in order to determine your body fat percentage, it's using an algorithm and is literally a
Thank you,
Craig.
When it comes to body composition,
Negativity can be like an addiction.
And so Charlie Kirk,
If you find photos like this or Kirkified images funny, you need to reevaluate your maturity level.
They're unspeakable.
And so when Mepsigram, my girlfriend, she tested her body fat on the DEXA scam, she had 13.8%. Breast implants, throwing it off, because as you know, she's not leaner than Alex Eubank.
Training consistently, eating a high protein diet, healthy, at roughly maintenance even, and getting plenty of activity.
And so this is what he actually done, and I'm going to tell you what he left out. He trained for 11 weeks while doing 150 milligrams of HRT a week. Remember, I do 140, and so 150, it is in fact quite a lot. But what he fails to mention is the rest of the drugs that he's taking. I believe that that's the only amount of steroids that he was taking for those 11 weeks. But do you really think he wasn't taking Retta or terzipatide? Or what about peptides? Perhaps IGF-1, IGF-2, GHRP6, GHRP2, CJC-1295, tesamorelin, sermorelin, or what about growth hormone? Does anyone think all he's taking in his repertoire was just HRT? That he was only doing like Coach Greg? Or do y'all think he was taking everything but the kitchen sink and then after those 11 weeks, going on a boatload of steroids and probably including Trent? There, I've said it. The elephant in the room.
You guys probably seen some of the Instagram pictures of like Christmas tree in my back and all this weird crap, veiny stuff happening in my chest. And so I was like, okay, I'm probably not 15% body fat anymore. And it turned out I was like pretty close to 6.
And so Mike, he clearly likes the DEXA scam because it says he's leaner than he actually is. I mean, who doesn't want to be told that they're leaner than they are? It'd be no different than if somebody said to Mike, you know what, you're a 7 out of 10. You're just very good looking. Well, you like that person, and so you're going to say, hey, they have a very good opinion. That is like the DEXA scam. Mike is not 6%. He does not have 208.7 pounds of lean mass, and he doesn't only have 13.3 pounds of body fat on the entirety of his body. If he was at 6% body fat, he would be better than he has ever been in his entire life and perhaps would be ready to win a bodybuilding competition.
I lost 9.6% body fat. I lost 23.5 pounds of fat tissue.
And so he claims to have lost 23.5 pounds of fat in 13 weeks. And so Mike was losing 1.8 pounds of fat per week. It roughly translates into a daily deficit of 900 calories, and all the while gaining 9.7 pounds of muscle. And so if that doesn't scream steroids, then I don't know what does. Do y'all actually think that it's because of the app following progressive overload and a deload and doing whatever recoverable volume that he's going to tell you to do? Or do y'all think it's just drugs? I'm telling you it's just drugs. I'm telling you it's just drugs.
So what was this actual fat loss diet that I did that did most of this work of digging out the fat?
Now hear me out. If his app was so accurate and tracked everything accordingly, why wouldn't he have ended this transformation at, let's say, 9% body fat? If it was goal to break 10, ends up at 9, then did he actually track anything effectively? Like, if I hire a coach and I say my goal is to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks and I lose 30 pounds in 10 weeks, does that make it a better coach? I don't think so, because if you're losing fat too quickly, you're limiting your muscle growth potential. And so if Mike had, been in a 500 calorie daily deficit instead of 900, perhaps at the end of it, he ends up at 9% body fat, but with 20 pounds of additional muscle. There's too much of a good thing is bad. Now, most of you don't understand this. You don't comprehend it. And so let me make it clear for you. If your goal is to lose, say, 7% body fat and you lose 10, the app, it didn't work. It should tell you the appropriate amount of calories, the amount of training that you need to do, cardio and so on, in order to accurately reach that goal. If you hire me and you're losing fat too quickly, I'm going to add additional calories to your diet. When you diet to this extent, you're losing weight this quickly. In particular, when you're at single-digit body fat, you're going to have lack of energy. You're going to have a more difficult time building muscle. You're not going to be able to train as hard. You're not going to build as much muscle, and it's going to hinder your progress. And so just because he lost more fat doesn't make his methods more effective. If it did, rather than eating 2,800 calories a day, why not eat 1,800 calories a day? He would then have lost almost double the body fat. And so why wouldn't he do that? Because it's not good. Losing fat too quickly is bad. You lose muscle, and it's not ideal, especially when you're not even getting ready for a competition. This is a mini cut, if you will. This is an experiment.
So the rough size of the deficit, to me, is about 700-ish, because I think my maintenance is roughly 3,500 calories.
And so he thinks it's a 700 calorie deficit, but I just showed you it was 900 calories. And so already the app is off. Is the app not made to adjust towards reaching your goals? And so upon losing too much too quickly, why did the app not say, hey, you don't need to eat 2,800 calories. Let's bump it up to 3,000.
Ish. That does depend on what kind of pharmacology I'm taking, how much I weigh, how much activity I have. Those are all factors. But about 3,500 calories.
And so clearly the 3,500 calorie maintenance, it's wrong. He dieted on 2,800 calories and lost significantly more than he was expecting. And so his average calorie maintenance was actually 3,700. And so how many people think a 5'5" manlet should have a maintenance calorie intake of 3,700 while only walking 10,000 steps per day? And so he's minimally active, yet is putting all kinds of muscle and losing fat at the same time. And how many of you think that's the drugs? You know, that's the real elephant in the room. The amount of drugs, the pharmacology that he's taking. And so if you purchase this app without the drugs, do you think any of this is going to happen? If you did the exact thing Mr. Mike did, rather than gaining 9.7 pounds of muscle in this process, you probably lose 9.7 pounds.
Right? That vast majority of fat was just crunched out by a 700 calorie weekly or daily deficit, which over the week was predicted to get just under 1.5 pounds of fat tissue off of your body, assuming you don't lose any muscle.
Which it was 1.8 pounds, and it was 900 calorie deficit, not 700. I just ran the numbers.
In previous fat loss diets, for the last several ones that I've been trying, I was purposefully trying to eat substantially more to see how much churn I could get, and I got some.
And so clearly, his previous research, it did nothing. It didn't work. He said, hey, previously I needed 2,800 calories, I needed 10,000 steps, or else I couldn't lose the weight. He lost weight faster than expected. And so rather than doing 10,000 steps, he could have done 8,000, 6,000, 5,000, or he could have just ate more. Imagine how simple that is. You're losing fat too quickly, you eat more. It's not that complicated.
I took a hint from Menno Henselman's one of our conversations we had last year. Menno was an amazing person, a great colleague of mine, great friend.
And so let the circle jerk continue. I'm surprised he never mentioned Jeff Nipper, who won't be taking your picture. And so he told him, you know what? There's thousands of papers, reports saying 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but let's ignore all of that, Mr. Mike. Let's take 320 grams of protein a day because that is better. You know, why not change it up, churn it out, mix it up, if you will? I mean, why would we want to say what the research states? I mean, that is what all these science-based lifters, this guys explaining, are doing now. Rather than teaching the science, they turn it up and mix it all around. 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. This is a secret. I added more protein, 300 plus grams, and look at me.